Welcome to My Health, My Way, a podcast dedicated to empowering and supporting women living with endometriosis, adenomyosis, and infertility. We are your hosts. I'm Alana, Marketing Business Manager, and Sarah, a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. We are here to bring you stories and insights from a holistic perspective. Our aim is to foster a sense of community to help you navigate the challenges and triumphs that come with these conditions. Get ready to embark on a holistic adventure with us. Welcome to My Health, My Way, where health meets functional wisdom. Hi Sarah, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Alana?
Very well. After our last episode, we have decided to jump into hormones, which obviously for women, really even for men, hormones is a huge topic. Absolutely huge. And especially women with endometriosis usually have some type of hormonal imbalance.
Yes.
So the biggest one that we all know as women is estrogen. We're told women are estrogen, men are testosterone, and that's kind of your hormones. But is estrogen truly to blame for endometriosis? Can you kind of go through how does the body make hormones, what hormones are, and how they affect us?
Of course. Probably one of my most favourite topics.
Yes.
Probably also one of the most misunderstood topics because I think that the general understanding is that endometriosis is estrogen driven. Mm-hmm. But I think many people don't actually understand what that means.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe let's unpack that a little bit.
Definitely.
Let me just start off by explaining the female cycle.
Yeah.
I think just to really get an understanding of the hormones that are kind of driving our cycle. Mm-hmm. So the first day of your period is when both progesterone and estrogen are low. Yeah? That's when you get period. They're both low. And then your estrogen kind of rises towards ovulation, so towards your middle of your cycle, it rises, okay, and it needs to rise. It's really, really important that it rises, okay, because some people have their hormones measured somewhere early in the cycle and they go, oh my God, my estrogen was it was up there. And it's like, no, it needs to be up there.
It needs to be. Yeah.
It needs to rise, okay, it needs to rise for ovulation to occur.
Yeah.
And then as ovulation occurs, we produce progesterone as a result of ovulation.
Right.
And that is also very, very important, not just when we're trying to conceive. Every single month, that is a sign of health. Right. That's really, really important to happen. Mm-hmm. Now, when progesterone rises in the second part of the cycle, it is actually, we produce more progesterone than estradiol, okay? So that progesterone curve, if you actually look at the female cycle, is up there. Mm-hmm. And what that does is, because progesterone is kind of that calming hormone, all right? You want that to rise. Yeah. You want to rise so that it keeps it keeps estrogen kind of in check. Okay, so it makes sure that estrogen stays where it's at. Okay.
Yep.
When we don't ovulate or we don't produce enough progesterone, estrogen remains the upper hand in the second part of the cycle. Right. Now, when that happens, estrogen gets silly ideas, and this is where PMS, mood swings, all of that kind of, it's generally not estrogen's fault. Right. We like to blame estrogen. We like to call it estrogen dominance. Yep. What does that actually mean? Yep. When estrogen is dominant, it actually means that progesterone is too low.
It's too low. So it's actually a progesterone problem, not an estrogen problem.
Yes, yes. In a lot of cases, not an estrogen problem. It's a progesterone problem. And we kind of leave that out of the conversation. So then we just kind of attack estrogen. When estrogen is just doing its thing. It's just doing its thing. It's like, I'm sorry, but that progesterone is nowhere to be found. So I kind of off the leash and I'm just doing what I'm designed to do. And that's build things. Like estrogen is what we call an anabolic hormone. What that means is it's designed to build things. None of us would exist without estrogen. Right. We know it's very important. It's actually a very protective hormone. Yeah. So I think it gets a really bad rep. Yeah. And I don't necessarily think that that's helpful. No. Because it leaves too much out of the conversation, far too much.
And what would make progesterone low? Why wouldn't it overtake estrogen and keep it on the down low? What is stopping progesterone from rising?
It can be a result of chronic stress. So you got high cortisol.
Yep.
Okay, so you got chronic stress, high cortisol. Now, lots of things that can, raise cortisol or make someone push out too much cortisol. But what happens is, as a result of chronic stress, your body depletes progesterone.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you basically have your cortisol or your progesterone can kind of become cortisol. And I see that a lot. Yeah. Okay, because like I said, progesterone is more of a calming hormone. It's like your goody-goody.
Yep.
And so, and then your cortisol is more catabolic.
Right.
Okay, it actually breaks your body down.
Right. Okay.
Over time. Okay, so we need it for survival, but we don't want too much of it. Yeah. So it's that kind of balance thing again, right? We need balance. Yeah. And as a result of too much, your body will deplete progesterone. So it's actually generally a result of high cortisol.
Right.
Stress. Also, if you don't ovulate, or if we don't have the ability to make healthy hormones as a result of gut dysfunction.
Right. Everything comes back to the gut.
Comes back to the gut. Yeah. Absolutely. Then yes, it can absolutely result in us not ovulating, and then we don't produce enough progesterone, and then estrogen just has the upper hand, and that's really what estrogen dominance is.
And then it takes over, and you get those symptoms of extreme PMS, hormonal, mood fluctuations, things like that.
And then if we have an excess of estrogen, really means that it is not being metabolized properly, which then means we need to look at gut and liver, because the liver does detoxify our estrogens. So it's, But again, I'm not seeing it so much. I think that is the general treatment, is let's suppress estrogen because it's estrogen driven. Hold on, but do we actually need to suppress estrogen, or do we need to look at all of the hormones?
We need to see if our cortisol levels are too high, because that's then pressing, decreasing the progesterone.
Yes, exactly right.
And it's not actually estrogen.
So just to give you an example, my recent client showed with really low DHEA. Okay, DHEA. DHEA is kind of the mother, or it's not the mother hormone is kind of pregnenolone. So let's start there. Pregnenolone is kind of the mother of them all. If you don't have pregnenolone, you kind of can't make any of the other hormones. Okay. So pregnenolone is the mother of them all, your starter. You need pregnenolone. How do we make pregnenolone? Cholesterol.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Healthy fats plus B vitamins.
Yes.
How your body makes pregnenolone.
Right.
Okay. So this is where I say, if there's a cholesterol issue, we need to figure out why. Because if we're going to start messing with that, we're messing with your hormones.
Right.
So we need that pregnenolone.
Yep.
And then we have DHEA. So from pregnenolone, your body will make DHEA, which is the kind of the parent hormone of your anabolic sex hormones. Yep. So your estradiol and your testosterone.
Yep.
If you don't have enough DHEA, well, you're not going to be producing healthy levels of estrogen, and you're going to be producing healthy levels of testosterone. So there goes your sex drive.
Right. Gotcha.
All right.
Yep.
So we really do need DHEA. Because if we don't, then the balance between cortisol and DHEA, that's what we actually look at.
Yep.
Why do we look at cortisol and DHEA? Well, if DHEA is the mother of your anabolic sex hormones, so you're more, your estrogen, your testosterone, and your cortisol is catabolic, then we want balance between catabolic and anabolic.
Right. Okay.
So we want balance between DHEA and cortisol.
Right.
Do women show up with balance between cortisol and DHEA?
I'm going to go no.
No. Yeah. So really, really important.
Yeah.
Do I believe that the majority of women have this full investigation of their hormones entirely done?
No, definitely not.
No.
I mean, I know as a woman in my 40s, no, definitely not. And I have expressed these concerns to my GP. I have said, I've actually said, I think I'm going through perimenopause, and they've said to me, you're too young. And I'm like, I don't think that's the case, but I can feel that my hormones are out of whack.
Actually, from the age of 35, your progesterone will be declining, and so is your estrogen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
so it's absolutely possible,
of course,
and it should absolutely be looked at.
Yeah, and so I've found personally that a lot of GPs will not measure.
I think the problem is that they also not trained properly in hormones entirely. So. I think we're sometimes just asking the wrong people, tell you the truth. I don't always say that it's always their fault.
Yeah.
I just think that they're not trained properly. And then also, even if they did run the test, you'll find that most do not know how to interpret these tests properly or to even understand when these tests need to be taken. We measure on day 21 of the cycle.
Right. So it needs to be done on a certain day, not just whenever you rock up for the test.
No, it's done on day 21 for very good reasons, because on day 21, your estrogen and your progesterone are actually at its peak, and we want to see that ratio between them, which is very, very important to understand what's actually happening. We can't look at hormones in isolation, never, should never. We need to understand the bigger picture, and that's really looking at all of the hormones. All of them. And does your body have the ability to make healthy hormones, or is it going AWR somewhere with gut dysfunction or liver detoxification phases? It really is, again, something where you need to look at everything. You need to look at stress levels. If we're not going to address stress, then we are missing out on a huge piece of puzzle. And
so what influences our hormones? I mean, you've just said we need to look at it as a big picture. So if one hormone is out of whack, it's going to obviously put another one completely.
Yes, it's like a domino effect.
Correct. And it's just going to keep going. What influences our hormones?
Firstly, our nutrition.
Yep.
Hugely.
Yep.
Okay. And then also the ability to digest our nutrients and absorb them properly to make healthy hormones. As I just said, we need cholesterol and B vitamins from foods, okay? No, I'm not talking supplements. I'm saying from foods.
From foods. And then that goes back to the whole, your gut is basically the central nervous system of the body, isn't it? So if your gut's not at a certain point, it is going to start affecting.
But then we could also be asking the question, is it starting with an external stressor? Okay, so what I mean by external stressor is there some stress in your life? Maybe you're going through a divorce, or you're going through something terrible. That's really putting a huge burden on your gut, okay? That needs to be looked at, because if someone is having all of this external stress that's putting a burden on internal functions, then even that alone can really offset hormonal balance, because generally when that cortisol goes up, it's going to affect the rest of your hormones, and it's going to affect your gut health. And that needs to be looked at,
Before we jump back into the second half of our show, I would like to share how you can work with Sarah. As a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, Sarah takes a holistic root cause approach to your well-being. Say goodbye to merely treating symptoms and hello to uncovering the root causes of your health challenges. Sarah utilises cutting-edge functional testing to get to the heart of the matter and design a personalised plan just for you. Just remember, she's only a click away. You can connect with her on Instagram under NutriRoot_health for valuable insights, health tips, and a peek into the world of functional diagnostic nutrition. If you're more of an email person, drop her a message directly at sarah@nutriroothealth.com.au. That information will be in the show notes.
Don't miss out on this opportunity to work with me, your dedicated health detective.
Now let's dive back into the second half of our podcast. Stay tuned for more intriguing conversations. With nutrition, we just touched on that. What nutrition approach do you teach to balance your hormones? I know that you come from a nutritional background. If I was thinking, right, I think my hormones are out of whack, what would you suggest?
Blood sugar balance to begin with, always. It's really teaching about balanced nutrition to keep blood sugar more balanced, because when blood sugar is more balanced, your hormones will be happier and you will be happier.
And what does that look like? I know we spoke about in a different episode, I am a type 1 diabetic. So my blood sugar levels can be up and down all the time. And for those of you who don't know, a type 1 diabetic, the pancreas no longer works. And so I am on synthetic insulin. But for a normal person, for people that don't have diabetic issues, the pancreas will work and give insulin obviously whenever you eat something. So I'm guessing there are certain foods that will spike your blood sugar levels, and then there are certain foods that will keep them quite steady. Is this kind of what you mean when you talk about balancing your blood sugar levels, not eating things that are going to spike it and then drop it?
So if you decide to have something sweet, or you have your fruits, again, as we talked in the nutrition app, is that we really want to balance it out with some added protein and some healthy fat, so that we keep it more balanced. That's what it really is. It's doing your macronutrients, so your carbs, proteins, and fats, and eating them in combination. Dressing your food, don't have things on their own. Doesn't mean that you always have to be perfect. You can never just eat that damn carrot because you've got to pair it with something else. But I'm saying if we do that for the majority of time, we really are keeping the blood sugar more balanced, and we're keeping our hormones more balanced. That is really a starting place. That's not to say that there aren't other contributing factors that can throw off hormones. As we know, if there are any kind of toxins in the body, they will absolutely throw off hormones. Okay, so if there's anything that the body does not, and this is why it goes back to what is the body holding on to that's upsetting it, if there are any substances in the body that the body does not adequately deal with and detoxify, then that will throw off hormones. We talk a lot about endocrine disruptors, so your BPAs, your plastics, your synthetics, your chemicals, anything that you put on your skin, things that are in your food that are not actually food, it really upsets your body. And and we also talk a lot about xenoestrogens. So xenoestrogens are more your chemical compounds that are very similar. They act very similar to estrogen in the body.
Right.
Okay. So they are actually the majority of things I see with women is not so much that they have a problem with estrogen, and I know this might sound very controversial, but we're actually having a huge problem with xenoestrogens, okay? So I would almost say that we're having more of an issue with the environmental toxins than we have with our natural production of estrogen. It's the xenoestrogens that are really, really disrupting hormones.
And where do you find those? Is that, synthetic, obviously,
yes.
And where are we finding that? Are we finding that in food? Are we finding that in our beauty products, our shampoos, toothpastes?
All of it.
Right.
I mean, if you think of it just for a minute, the majority of women, the sheer amount of things that we put on our skin at times, not just to say makeup, skincare products that are even known to have carcinogenic ingredients, even fragrance, for example, they are all really terrible for us. Our skin really does absorb it all, and it is quite a lot of a burden on a body. And I say there always comes a point in time when the body goes,
I've had
too
enough.
much. I've had enough.
And so is it I hope I've got this right. Is it the liver's job to then try and process this?
Absolutely.
And they're trying to process it out of the body.
Yes.
And that's what you're saying, that we need to look at what is the body actually holding on to, because the liver is having a really hard time trying to detox this out of the system.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So I find, and again, different for everyone, which is why I test, and I want to see that toxin profile. I want to see what's the body holding on to that it cannot adequately get rid of. And also, what effect does that have on the body, okay? So just to give you an example, one of my recent clients, she was showing up with silver. And so what silver does in the body, being a chemical, is that it depletes glutathione to begin with. So
what's glutathione?
Glutathione helps the liver detoxify,
Right.
phase 1 and phase 2.
Okay.
It's the main antioxidant in the body.
Right.
So not only does she have a chemical compound there, it also depletes the glutathione, which is required for liver detoxification.
Right.
On top of that, pesticides and herbicides, that we know are being found in food. Our foods are being sprayed. And these are all things that majorly upset hormonal balance, because that xenoestrogens like to take, they're not the same, as we don't produce them. However, like I said, they act very similar to estrogen in the body.
Right.
And that is what I'm finding is in the majority of cases seems to be more of the problem than that we're actually having a problem with excess estrogen. I'm not saying that is never the case. Again, case by case.
Yes, exactly.
Really, really important to look at the client and decide what is actually happening for you.
Yep.
And I am not finding that to be that estrogen is to blame.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's where we're actually going wrong. Because if it was to blame, we'd have to think for a second too, with all the treatment that we do have in suppressing estrogen, which is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
We should be having more success if that was to be true.
Yeah.
Why are women past menopause still having endometriosis? Like it
Yeah.
actually, it kind of, that theory makes no more sense.
No.
When you realize that, in fact, it's not that case for every woman.
Yeah.
So then what is it?
Yeah.
So in so many women that actually get proper hormone testing done show up with low estrogen.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can still have low estrogen and have even lower progesterone, which would still make you estrogen dominant.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the driving factor that we tell every woman it is.
Yeah.
I think that there are far more other contributing factors to the issue than just estrogen alone.
So if I was coming to you and I'm like, I want to get all my hormones tested, and you need to have a look at it, where do we start? If I was to contact you, what do we do?
I would obviously suggest the testing to you that, we would look at your hormones, but we would look at a lot more things, okay? I really want to know, where your body is really, really stressed. So what are the systems that your body is really, really stressed in? I want to know, the nutritional profile. So what are we missing?
Yep.
Okay. What are the nutrients that your body is really missing? How are you going with your amino acids that, your liver really needs and you really need for your hormones, et cetera, et cetera. I want to know, do you have enough stomach acid? Do you have enough enzymes? Okay. What do we need to do about digestion? I want to know, obviously, what your hormones are doing. Yep. And I also want to know what toxins that we're looking at, okay, what's upsetting your body. Yeah. And I also definitely want to know what your minerals are like, okay. I think it's a huge missing piece is minerals are foundational. Yeah. Minerals are required for every single function in the body. So I want to know not so much just where your minerals are at, but a lot of the different ratios between minerals tell us a lot about your adrenal and thyroid function. Tell us a lot about your, obviously energy production, gut health, etc., because we actually need sodium and potassium to produce stomach acid. So it's like, if you don't have enough sodium and potassium, your adrenals are going to struggle. So we really want to know, to begin with, like as a foundation, what your minerals are like. And we can see that a lot of times energy production will go up when we work on mineral balance alone. Okay. Yep. Gut health, obviously, all of that. Yep. Being able to absorb nutrients better, energy will go up. Yep. Being able to detoxify better when we actually give the liver the nutrients it needs to do its job.
I was just about to
say we see that go up. And it's really a lot about a whole food approach. Okay. People think, there's supplements involved, of course, because we need to fill the gaps. Yes. But really, most of them are whole food supplements, about food. Food's medicine.
Yeah, yeah. And whole food supplements can be different or are different to the supplements that you can get in the supermarket.
Absolutely.
Let's say, I just want a multivitamin for a woman. That's really that's not a whole food supplement, and you are not going to get as much as the body needs out of that as what you are a whole food supplement.
Yeah, no, I don't recommend multivitamins. I think multivitamins are full of crap.
Yeah. Yep.
Excuse my language.
Yeah.
And I think some of these supplements that I guess you can just grab off the shelf, they make people believe that they're somewhat doing the right thing in, filling some of their gaps. So it's like, how do you even know what your body needs?
Yeah.
How do you know that that's what it is? It's like, you don't know.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, certain vitamins, if you are taking them in excess, you are depleting your minerals if you are doing it wrong. And there is the relationship between vitamins and minerals where there's what is called antagonistic and synergistic relationships. So too much of one thing will deplete another.
Right.
And that is something many people don't understand. So they take willy-nilly things and I realize you can actually make matters worse as a result.
Because I was just going to say, then the liver, who is already stressed, and the kidneys then have to try and detox this out of the body.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly right.
Okay. Well, that's all been very, very interesting, and I definitely learned something today. So, estrogen is not the evil that it's made out to be, and progesterone definitely plays a part, as does cortisol in
Absolutely.
In your hormone levels.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much
for
today,
so much.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a wrap for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed the enlightening discussions and insights. If you're ready to take charge of your health journey and unravel the mysteries of endometriosis, adenomyosis, and infertility, don't forget to connect with Sarah on Instagram at nutriroot_health or shoot her an email at sarah@nutriroot.health.com.au. That will be in the show notes as well.
Remember, your health is an ongoing journey, and I'm your detective, ready to help you crack the case. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes, and until the next time, take care of yourselves.